Good morning, everybody. This is Lisa from Lisa's Garden Time. I'm going to plant some of these tomatoes because they're getting too big in the cup. But I just want to let you know I put some garden lime, um, bone meal, and blood meal. And a lot of gardeners probably say, "Oh, that's too much," blah blah blah. But this is what I always do, and I just mix it up. Really good. I mix it up really good. You can see the powder from the bone meal. And this is my way. You have your own way. That's fine. But this is my way, and I'm just showing you what I do because these tomatoes are getting too big for the cups. But some of them are not making it. So I'm gonna probably just either toss these in the compost or I don't know. Well, I'll figure something out. But anyways, I have some areas I want to plant some of these tomatoes, but I'm going to just plant this one and in the container I'm going to show you in a minute. But yeah, this is what I do. You find your own ways of doing things when you're gardening. A lot of people tell you don't do this, don't do that, blah blah blah, but you find your own way that works. This is what works for me. You'll find your own way to do things in your garden. Some things will make it, some things will not, but anyways, this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go to the container and plant over there. Okay, I'm going to bring this with me, and I'm going to put it in this container here. Okay, let me get my thing my husband got me from his work so I can put my knees on it because I had a couple of surgeries on my knee and I don't want it to start hurting. You can tell age. Anyways, yeah, here, this is what my husband got me and it works good. He got it free, so it's really spongy and it works. So these are my chives. I love chive flowers. I know you can eat these. I never tried them, but I know some people cook with them. But so I'm gonna dig a hole in here. Try to get as deep as I can and see what happens. Okay, I didn't lose it, but I misplaced my tripod. So yeah, I always misplace something. So my kids always tell me, "You're getting old, Mom, you're forgetting." But anyways, I'm gonna put it in here. Try to get it. You see all the roots from the chives. There's a lot of roots in here. But I just want to show you what I do. And I say you'll find your own ways. I used to go by what everybody used to say on doing stuff, but then I find my own ways to doing stuff, and that's what would happen. So I just put a handful in there. You see all the excuse the dust from the bone meal, and I just mix it in the dirt like this. And I don't know if that's deep enough though for this tomato because the tomato is pretty long, so I might have to go a little deeper in here. Excuse, I get really sniffly and stuff, and sounds like I'm out of breath all the time. But like I said, well, it happens. So, but anyways, let me put some more in there because I had to dig way in the bottom. So I just mix it in. My shadow's always in the way, but that's what happens. But anyways, there you go. And then I'm gonna get the tomato. I can't do that. I'm gonna try to do this with one hand. I'm gonna squeeze there you go. Try to get it carefully. My tomato, put it in there. Still not deep enough, so I might have to just lay it down. There you go. So you can lay your tomatoes, like lay them down and stuff if you need to. But tomatoes go good with like onions and chives and stuff. So I just needed to put something in here, and I try to put a little hill on there This is the, I had to cut the name, the crimson tomato. And I'm going to see if some friends need some tomatoes plants, because I have too many. Because I know a few people at work garden too. So, yeah. There we go. This is what I do. And like I said, you'll find your own ways of doing things. But this is, I mix this all together. And then sometimes I'll just put a little bit on the top. Mix it on the top. There. But yeah, that's how I do it. It should be a little deeper, but I'll get a stake or something and stake it up once it gets bigger and stuff. You know, I love having tomatoes, a lot of tomatoes, but like you see my garden in my other videos. It's not a very big garden, but I do my best to grow my own food and stuff. I was going to tell you that tomato over there was a volunteer that I found over there by the onions and stuff. I think because of my compost, threw like tomatoes in there that I guess must have had seeds. You know, that like when you cut the tops and stuff. And I guess I have a few that were volunteers and stuff. And a lot of times the volunteers are stronger than the ones you grow and the ones you buy, because they're already in the ground and they're more stronger. So you can see the the stem is a little thicker and stuff. And I don't know what kind of tomato it is. I think it's, I don't think it's a beefsteak. I think it's one of the slicing tomatoes with the smaller ones. We'll find out once we get tomatoes on there. But I had like that chamomile was a volunteer. I don't know where that chamomile came from, but it was a volunteer. And I need to tie this tomato. And I'm already getting white flies. Oh my goodness, I hate white flies. I'm already getting white flies. You know, they really damage a lot of your plants. But I don't spray. I just move the plant. A lot of times when you move the plant around, they just fly away. But anyways, like this strawberry plant was from this plant, because it vines. When it vines, you could see right here, see some of these, the vines come out, and it has a little plant at the end. And now what I do is get a cup of soil. I put the end of the plant in the soil, and it grows roots. So once it grows roots, you can cut the end off, and you have your own strawberry plants. That's what I do. I don't really buy my own anymore and stuff. But I know I seen, where did I see it? That one, that tomato was a volunteer too. Like I said, sometimes when the tomatoes fall off or dry up or fall off, or a bird eats half and the seeds fall on the ground, you get volunteers and stuff. Like, that was a seed that fell on the ground. And that's, to be honest, that Chinese mustard, it turned out better than the one I had in that container and stuff. So, but like, these flowers here is from the yellow flowers I had in the container that kept tipping over. They volunteered on their own. So there, you'll find some volunteers and stuff in your garden, and that's good. That's good that you do, because let me show you. I think that's a carrot. That's a carrot, but I don't know what kind, because it volunteered. And that's a carrot that volunteered. I didn't plant those there. I think some seeds probably fell when I was planting carrots and stuff. But the garlic chives, those were from the seeds. They fell from this plant and stuff. So, if you get volunteers. That's fine. What is that? What is that? What's this? Is that a... I didn't plant any squash or zucchini or cucumbers in here. I gotta find out what kind of plant that is. See, that's a volunteer. That's pretty cool. It's really cool. But yeah, see that kale is gonna start to flower and seed. I don't need any kale seeds. I'm gonna pull that out. Like I said, I need to pull it out because of my tomatoes. But anyways, I wanted to show you what I do when I plant my plants. I just mix everything up. You find your own ways of doing things. I used to do it like everybody else did it, and I said, you know what? I don't have time to do everything separate, so I just start mixing my own fertilizer together, like bone meal, blood meal, fertilizer, whatever you have. You know, you don't have to buy all this expensive stuff for your garden. You know, I like the soils. I just get the potting soils. I just get the cheapest I could afford because a lot of people don't have money to keep buying soil. And what I do is I amend it. I have my own compost. So when the raised bed containers are empty, I put some compost in there and I mix it. Making your own compost is not hard either. So I have my own compost. My son bought me a compost bin, so I make my own compost, and believe me, I have a lot of worms. Let me see if I can show you that. It's messy back over there, so gotta excuse the mess I have, but I'm gonna show you my compost bin, and I have so many worms. You could tell I finally got rid of a lot of my cans and bottles I recycle. Me and my son, we recycle. Excuse the mess, weeds. It's messy back here. Yeah, let me show you. This is the compost bin my son bought me. I don't know what's growing out of there. I think that's a potato. I don't know what that is. But anyways, let me show you. This is my compost bin. Look at, you see all those worms in there. That is good. I know there's a lot of little insects coming out of there, but that doesn't matter. Look at that. Thousands and thousands of worms in there. So once it gets hotter or dry a little bit, because it's a little smelly because of I put some kale leaves in there, and I put coffee grinds, eggshells, food that's getting rotten, leaves from the garden. Like, you can tell things are growing out of here. I know, like I said, I know that's a potato. That I don't know what it is. I have to take a picture on my phone and find out what it is. But yeah, look at all the beautiful worms. My husband goes, people go buy that for bait. I go, well, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, but I just want to show you how I do things my way to grow your vegetables and whatever you're growing. So don't be scared to try your own ways of doing things, because a lot of times you have no choice. Like this here is from the fencing and old wood I had. I have a pellet my son gave me. That's a tomato cage. I try to make my own trellises. Here's another tomato cage. I don't go out and buy trellises a lot of times because they're so expensive. So I try and make my own. Like that one over there, it was like that art thing my granddaughter had. She didn't do art anymore, so I just made a little trellis out of it. So that worked. Just use what you can. You don't have to go and spend a lot of money in your garden. It's nice that you do to make your garden look nice, but a lot of people can't. Like this here, my granddaughter was taking dancing classes, and my daughter would put her dresses on here. she stopped taking dancing classes, so I use it at trellis too. I grew beans on there. I don't know if you guys seen in my old videos, I had pole beans growing on there. It works okay. I mean, you got to try something, right? I mean, it doesn't hurt to try new things in your garden, you know, to see what works and stuff like that. I had bought that trellis. God, it was real cheap back then. But I put the fencing in back because the holes were too big, and my winter squash wasn't hanging on right because it was too big of holes. So I put a fencing back there, and it works. But anyways, like this right here is the guinea pig cage. One of the guinea pig cages my sons, when they buy new ones, I just used it as a trellis too for my tomatoes, and it works. I mean, that too. It's just a guinea pig cage over there, and just some fencing I had, and excuse that, but I just cut it off when I need it, so I don't want to throw it away, because if I need to tie something now, I just cut it off. But anyways, you find your own ways of doing your garden. But like I said, that's my way of making my own mix of fertilizer to feed my plants. You find your own ways of doing things. Don't be scared to do things. You know, I wish I could have a beautiful garden like a lot of YouTubers I watch, but you know, I can't afford it. They can. I just try to make things that work for me in my garden. But I just wanted to show you what I do, my ways of doing things. What can you do? I mean, if it works, it works. You know, you can't go and spend a lot of money that you don't have to make your garden. You could just find friends who might have stuff. You might find stuff in the street that you can use. It doesn't hurt to try other things. But anyways, I'm talking. I'll try to do another video on other stuff. But yeah, just do what you can and use what you have. And if it works, fine. Find your own ways of doing things in your garden. This is what works for me. I'm not telling you to do it my way, the way I do it. I'm just letting you know there's other ways you can do, you know. So, but this is Lisa. I got to get ready to go visit my dad. My kids hate said that because I visit my mom. I won't visit grandma. Mom, she's gone. Yeah, I'm going to go visit her. But anyways, I'm going to go visit my dad. I haven't seen him in a while. Well, I haven't gone to the cemetery in a while. So, everybody have a good day, a nice day. It's beautiful out. Enjoy your day. Be safe out there. This is Lisa. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.